2016 and 2017 were weird years in Brilliant Idiots history. It was weird because Andrew Schulz and Charlamagne the God were at two different stages of their career. You see, when they both started Brilliant Idiots, they were just leaving Guy Code, and they're relatively on the same level. But Charlamagne the God popped off first, and Andrew Schulz was still trying to catch up. So in 2016, 2017, Andrew Schulz was still the edgy comedian trying to make a name for himself, while on the other hand, Charlamagne the God had evolved into PC Charlamagne because he was trying to get his late night show, so he got in bed with the liberals and was trying to play it safe. So it created a weird dynamic when one host is a super edgy dude, the other host is a really woke PC dude, and nobody was happy about the content being produced.
This is why this is what I feel like the show used to be like a couple years ago. You would say outlandish shit, and then
it's not outlandish though.
But I would give a perspective that was the other side that was reasonable, right? And then you went all fucking snowflake social justice warrior on me.
No,
and
you
now I have to be so extreme.
Andrew just went
in
too
my
outlandish, and now I see why, because he feels like I haven't been outlandish enough.
Yeah, you left me alone.
Both of us.
You let me alone in the outlandishness.
Okay, now I understand.
Anyway,
Andrew will often express how PC Charlamagne has gotten and how he missed the old days. But the truth is, Schulz was a liability for Charlamagne at that time. You see, Schulz will go on Instagram and say certain things that Charlamagne's, I guess, woke friends didn't like. One of those things being when Andrew Schulz compared the Migos to Milo Yiannopoulos. Andrew will post on Instagram sort of asking, yo, why is it that when these outlets bring on Milo, y'all are outraged? But when Ellen brings on Amigos, y'all are not outraged. Andrew will say selective outrage is interesting to me. If an athlete, politician, or businessman said effing on your bitch, she a thought, they're a misogynist. Rapper says it, they're on Ellen. What's the real difference between N Culture or Milo and our favorite gangster rappers? Besides a Fire Eye beat by Mike Will Made It. Bill Maher is evil for putting Milo on his show. Ellen is cool for putting on Migos. Charlamagne would admit that he got a lot of calls when Andrew Schulz made that post of people asking Charlamagne, why was he still doing a show with Andrew Schulz when Andrew Schulz is a clear white supremacist, right? Because they claim that Andrew Schulz's post or the question he posed was a clear endorsement of Milo and N Culture and other people they deemed are white supremacists. Now, the post was a point of discussion when Charlamagne the God invited on one of his woke friends, Angela Rye, on Brilliant Idiots.
Read the caption.
Selective outrage is interesting to me. If an athlete, politician, or businessman said, fucking on your bitch, she a thought. I had to read it like that because that's not how they say it. They're a misogynist. Rapper says it, they're on Ellen. What's really the difference between Ann Coulter or what? Do you really believe this? And Milo and our favorite gangster rappers? Bill Maher is evil for putting Milo on his show. Ellen is cool for putting... So this is the classic textbook definition of false equivalency, Andrew. I don't agree with your statement.
How is that?
Because they're not... Please tell me you know the difference between hate speech and people utilizing hip-hop as an art form.
The podcast got heated. Obviously, it's Angela Rye and Andrew Schulz. But Charlamagne the God didn't like how Andrew Schulz, I guess, treated Angela Rye. He felt like he was too debatey, he was too hostile, and he wasn't feeling it. So the following podcast, he decided that he was going to confront Andrew Schulz about it. He also took the opportunity to confront Andrew Schulz about months of complaints that he had on his chest. He also wanted to tell Andrew Schulz that the content they've been making has been piss poor, primarily because Andrew Schulz is a contrarian, and Andrew Schulz has been trying to debate everybody and fight with everybody. And he felt like, yo, if Andrew Schulz doesn't change, well, the podcast dynamic would have to change. This moment actually came while they were having a heated debate about abortions.
Okay, so but what they're trying to say is you shouldn't be able to have an abortion after the date where a baby can survive without the mother, right? Now, to me, my response to that is a baby can't survive without a mother or father until he's like 13 years old. Like, babies constantly...
I think
because you're not listening, bro. That's why I don't want to have this conversation with you, because you're not ready to listen.
Schulz wants to argue, and I'm not even arguing with him.
No, because you don't know. You just don't know about... You don't know enough about both arguments.
Why do you care? You ever gonna have an abortion?
Charlamagne the God clearly felt the abortion discussion was not worth talking about because, one, it could get him in some hot waters with his liberal buddies, and he just ain't want to risk it. And he also says, yo, if me and you agree on this abortion discussion, then why are we having it? Like, I agree it's killing. I agree it's murder. we shouldn't even be having this conversation since we both agree on it. And Andrew Schultz got frustrated because he felt like Charlamagne the God was trying to undermine the conversation that he was trying to have. And if it's a podcast, we should be able to talk about what the other person want to talk about, even if we're not interested in it.
Bro, you think I care about everything you bring up? I fucking make an effort to care. That's what we do on this show. I don't care about half this shit.
I'm not going to get into a deep argument about abortions. You either agree with them or you don't. I'm pro-choice. If you want to have, ladies, if you're out there pregnant right now and you think about having an abortion, do you? If you think about having a baby, do you? Why do people care so much? Like, this is a mute argument. Like, there's so much other shit there's so much other shit that people in positions of power could be discussing. Like, why are we on the floor talking about this shit?
So here's my question for you. If it's killing, why aren't you in jail?
What?
You just said it's killing.
You said it's killing too.
You said you've killed 3 people.
You said it's killing too.
Why aren't you in jail?
But Schultz, do you think it's killing?
I'm asking you a question. We're not talking about me.
Because abortion's illegal.
I haven't killed anybody. That's why
I'm
not
in jail because abortion's illegal.
But why aren't you in jail?
Because abortion's illegal.
Why are they legal if it's killing?
I don't know.
Oh, now we're into a discussion, aren't we?
No.
So now, no. Don't let him off the hook with this, Chris.
The dynamics were weird during those times because usually it was Chris Monroe and Charlamagne the God pretty much tag teaming Andrew Schultz and trying to make him look dumb. Now, Andrew Schultz is telling Chris, don't save Charlamagne the God. I got him on the ropes. And that's what Charlamagne the God had an issue with because Charlamagne felt like, yo, it's a podcast. We're supposed to be having a discussion. There shouldn't be a moment where you feel like you got me on the ropes or, you know, like we have to be contentious about it. And it was at this point in the conversation where Charlamagne had just had enough and he decided, yo, we're finally going to have the conversation with Schultz and, you know, we're going to tell him what we've been discussing behind his back all this time.
Don't fucking let him off the hook with this. Stop protecting him. Stop protecting him. Stop protecting him.
This will be honest.
You getting defensive now.
This is why the podcast has been shit the past few months. Because Andrew just likes to argue. Andrew is a contrarian for no reason. He can't help it. Andrew gets off on being a contrarian. Like, I don't give a shit. I told you I agree.
I get off on showing both sides to an issue. I get off on showing consistency. I get off on showing.
Do you hear that? I agree with you.
What do we agree on?
He said, if you
I agree with you.
I'm asking you a question. You're avoiding the question because you don't have an answer for it.
No.
And you don't want to be put in a situation where it doesn't want to answer.
People don't like you
You're
no more,
defensive.
No,
right now, you're attacking me because you don't have an answer and you don't want to look stupid.
I agree with you.
You're afraid of looking like you don't know what's the answer to this question.
I disagree with Andrew in terms of Charlamagne the God didn't answer because he didn't have an answer for it. I think Charlamagne the God didn't answer because Charlamagne the God was trying to get in bed with the woke liberals and trying to get a late night show. And going against abortion isn't the best way to work your way into the Hollywood elites. All right, but Andrew Schultz ain't really get the hint when Charlamagne the God said, yo, the podcast has been piss poor the last couple of months because of you, Andrew. Andrew probably just thought Charlamagne the God was just saying that in you know, like a heated moment, right? So he didn't really respond to it until Charlamagne the God said, all right, bro, it's time to have the conversation, man. All right, Andrew, we got to talk. And this is when the intervention of alt-right Andy started.
It's time to have this discussion.
We can move on. We're
going to move on to why the Billionaires podcast has gone to shit in some people's eyes.
Okay.
Let's have this conversation.
Sure, let's do it.
Do you think you're a contrarian in any way, shape, or form?
I think that, absolutely.
Do you think that is productive to having healthy conversations?
I think without it, there is no conversation.
We just spent 20, that's not true, Sean.
Without it, it's a vacuum.
No, you can just be honest. The problem is, we've sat here for 20, 25 minutes. Mm-hmm. I'm not even against you.
I'm not saying
there's nothing you said that I've really even disputed. I agreed with you on your drone strike thing. I just simply said I'm pro-choice, but you keep trying to dig up an argument. I'm like, why?
Because I'm curious. I mean, do you want to know?
What?
I will tell you if you'd like to know.
Okay.
I'm curious to know when you think it's okay to kill something. Or do we want to discuss why the podcast you think some people feel has gone to shit? Or do we want to discuss
Okay, I'm going to give you another perfect example.
The problem with these two is they both lost respect for each other and assumed they were talking about bots. Meaning Charlamagne assumed that Andrew Schultz was so far deep into being a contrarian that whatever he inputted into the algorithm, Andrew Schultz would just spit back the opposite of it just for conversation. Andrew Schultz thought that Charlamagne the God was so far deep into being PC that whatever conversation he tried to give Charlamagne the God, he's either going to avoid it, not speak on it, or give a PC answer. Now, Charlamagne the God eventually brought up what was really on his mind, which was how Andrew Schultz treated Angela Rye, the podcast before.
I'm gonna give you an example. When you had Angela Rye in here and you said to Angela Rye, prove to me that your ancestors were raped by slaves. What the fuck that got to do with anything?
Prove to me that
that's like telling a Jewish person, prove to me your ancestors were
raped by white people.
Were killed in the Holocaust. Or prove to me if you're a Native American that your people actually got smallpox. Like, what does that even mean? That's not even a question that could be answered.
She was saying that she was white, part white.
She's not part white. She didn't say that.
Well, that's what she did say, actually. That's exactly what she was saying. And she was saying that she was part white.
She said she found out that she had a slave, that she found out she had she's tied back to a slave named Maria.
She also said that there was white in her family, and then her argument for why there was white in her family was because a lot of white slave masters raped their slaves and then had children with them. That was her argument as to why it was. So I said, how do you know that that's where this whiteness comes from? How do you know that there's not, consensual relationships with white people in your family's history?
Now, I'm going to give Andrew Schultz the benefit of the doubt and assume he's talking about post-slavery when he talks about consensual relationship between blacks and whites, right? But that was the thing, is Andrew Schultz was trying to give up explanations for why he was a contrarian when Charlamagne the God just wanted to hear, bruh, just stop being a contrarian. You feel me? Like, I don't want to hear the excuses or the examples, right? I want you to pod this one way because I believe this one way is a better way to have conversation, right? And it's a better way to be my co-host.
Like literally, and this is the thing, and I'm being honest with you because you my dude and I fuck with you 360%.
Sure.
This is not something new. This is something that has been going on for the past 4 months, and motherfuckers have been hitting me saying, what is wrong with Andrew?
Sure.
And I'm like, Andrew's a natural contrarian. But
I think I'm
just telling you, sometimes that shit does not make for productive conversation at all.
Would you like to know why I take these stances?
Go ahead.
I take these stances because I think it's important to understand both sides of an argument.
So this is what you need to do. Learn to have your opinion and express your opinion. And you can express both sides. You can express what you've heard from conservatives. You can express what you've heard from libertarians. But don't argue with motherfucking me because I'm not even against you.
But here's what
Not once have I been against you.
But here's the thing.
That's when it sounds stupid. Like you can state your opinion and show both sides based off what you think without arguing with motherfuckers.
When you listen back to this episode, you will see that I did exactly that. And I'm just asking you.
There's a difference between asking a question and then saying, you don't even have a motherfucking answer to it. I'm like, I don't have an answer because I don't care. Like, we're not arguing.
But that's my reaction.
It's one thing to have asking a curious
getting
question.
Defensive and being and kind of like being borderline, like throwing jabs at me when I'm just curious about your worldview.
And you always like to do this dumb shit where you say some salacious shit, you say some contrarian shit, you admit to being a contrarian, and then act like the person that you're talking to is the crazy one.
Andrew Schultz at this point felt ambushed. He felt like Charlamagne the God was taking cheap jabs at him. So Charlamagne the God had to let Andrew Schultz know that, bruh, it's not just me. The dude, Chris, who's in his room right now, who's not saying nothing, he's also been talking about you behind your back and letting me know that, yeah, bro, like we agree. The podcasts have been piss poor because you have been a contrarian and been hostile and been trying to debate every episode.
The truth. Yeah. But Chris, now is the time to tell Andrew everything that we be saying all the time when he's not around, since we're having this intervention.
I understand what Andrew's saying, but I think the point is you got to disengage at a certain point. If Charlamagne's not picking up on what you're saying, or someone,
I agree. We can let it go. We can stay too long.
Keep it moving. That abortion topic. I mean, we're doing like on show prep on the air right now, but like.
No, but this is
good. It's fine.
This is a good discussion.
These people have made the Brilliant Idiots podcast popular over the past couple of years.
Saying we shouldn't.
They've shown concerns, so we need to have the conversation.
And it's important that they see what's going on. And
but don't keep trying to hit the same point a million.
I don't even know what the point is. I'm not against them.
I understand what you're saying.
Listen, there's a lot of things we completely agree on, and those episodes are really great too. I think
what you think sounds good doesn't sound good, my brother. That's just the truth to the matter.
That's sure. And
like
people
yelling and screaming and
no, I don't think that sounds good.
Talking in circles, like that's not like we can express ideas.
Again, you're saying that's what I think sounds good. That's not. And if you are interested,
so why does it constantly
if you're interested, I'll tell you what I think sounds good.
So why does it constantly happen?
Why do we constantly argue about things?
No, not me. You argue with everybody.
Sure.
Charlamagne the God would even go on to explain to Andrew Schultz that when he posted what he posted about Migos, that Lil Duval, Van Lathan, and his friends gave him a call about Andrew Schultz, asking, what's wrong with Andrew Schultz, and why are you associated with Andrew Schultz?
And we chilled, they would know exactly how I feel.
But that's your fault. Like when you posted that shit about the Migos and Ellen, our friends, from Van to Lil Duval, what the fuck wrong with Andrew?
See, that's funny because what the fuck's wrong with Andrew because of the actual opinion, or what the fuck's wrong with Andrew because
the opinion?
Well, no, because I had Van hit me up and say the exact. He was like, "No, I get what you're saying."
Maybe did he say I get what you're saying and then proceed to explain why you were wrong about that?
Well, no, I still don't think I'm wrong about it.
But did he explain to you why he thinks you were wrong about it? How you went about it the wrong way?
I don't want to put words in Van's mouth because I don't remember the exact conversation. I was in L.A. I was smoking a lot of weed.
Either everybody's lying to me then. But if Van did that to you, I'm pretty sure Van did what you said you should do. Take one thing from the situation that you can agree with and then give your explanation. Then it's received better.
Well, I think what I learned now...
Van told me about you, and I should call Van now. He said, man, I saw Andrew Schultz's stand-up, and he said Andrew is so motherfucking talented. Like, extremely talented. Better than... He said you killed 3 comics that was on the show with you. And he said, which makes me feel like he doesn't have to resort to the antics I feel that he's doing. That's what he said to me.
Andrew Schultz will get an opportunity to express his frustrations with the podcast, and he was simply unhappy with the podcast taking a left-leaning turn and leaning towards the left more so than ever. He was unhappy with how many left-leaning guests they would bring on, and when he combated them, there was an issue. But when he asked to bring on a right-leaning guest like Richard Spencer so he could debate them as well and expose Richard Spencer, they wouldn't allow it. They closed curtains on that idea. Andrew Schultz's mindset is, if y'all are attacking me for debating the left-leaning people, because it's the only people y'all bring on, and y'all won't let me bring on any right-leaning people for me to debate, then how can I win, right? We're supposed to have both sides. We're not supposed to be catering and be used as puppets for the left.
But my point is, that's how you get alt-right Andy. If all we hear is you beating up on the left and you're not applying any of that logic and that breakdown to the right.
That's a good point.
If we discussed,
that's what I'm saying.
That's a good point.
Like I told you guys, I got in touch with Richard Spencer. I want to bring him on the show and I want to destroy him. Yep. I want to debate him.
And why did I tell you
want
that you shouldn't
to
do
annihilate him. Now, you both said no. I emailed the guy. He was down to come on. You guys said no.
What did I tell you why?
I'll say, you said you don't want to create a platform for these ideas.
And I said that you should focus on yourself. Because I'm going to tell you something, Andrew. I don't really have much to say. They've been wanting me to have these conversations with you for months. They're like, oh, do an intervention with Andrew and have us call in. And I'm like, that's not real. I'm not staging something. If y'all think my guy really has a problem, if y'all are really concerned about my guy, one day it's going to be a genuine conversation. Yeah. And I've been texting you or we'll talk and I'll tell you little things. Sure. I told you about Richard Spencer. Andrew, you need to work on yourself first.
Sure.
Before you destroy Richard Spencer, you need to destroy this alt-right Andy character or whatever that people think you are. Like, worry about your perception.
The conversation did reach a healthy point. Andrew Schultz did take accountability, and moving forward, the podcast was dramatically better. It's safe to say Andrew Schultz didn't get fired. As a matter of fact, Andrew Schultz went from being a B mic to now he's the A mic. He's the one who carries the podcast, and he's the one who got a bigger podcast right now. So shout out to Andrew Schultz, man, for, I guess, taking accountability, making a change, and working out that situation. Me personally, if Andrew Schultz would have had that same mindset in 2023, he would have been seen as super based, and he would have been applauded for it. But because he was ahead of his time, he was shut down, man. But before you guys get up out of here, man, click the video somewhere on my screen, all right? Find out. Click this to find out, or somewhere here. Why Stephen A. Smith just exposed Skip Bayless for lying about this for all these years. I'm going to see you guys in this video somewhere on my screen, all right? I'm out of here, folks. Peace.